So, welcome to another episode of Empowering Chats with me, Susan Burrell. And today I'm excited. The energy that's running through my system right now after having met these two amazing women is just, it's an energy that feels ecstatic. Wow. And we're just going to dive in. I have the two authors. I'm just going to hold up the book called Money is an Energy Game. And boy, if you don't recognize that that's the truth already, you guys need to get this book after you listen to our conversation, because money is an energy game. And these two women have put together an amazing, I'm calling it an encyclopedia. It's a source book of their wisdom and their research and their many years of teaching the principles that they present in this book in a way that you guys will understand it. So I want to welcome today the two authors, Margaret Donahue and Madeline Gerwick. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Susan. It's a pleasure to be here.
Definitely. We're so happy you invited us.
Absolutely. So what's curious to me, we're going to kind of go into the backstory and then we'll dive into the book. But what's curious to me is your individual paths. Mm-hmm. So, Peg, you're a Feng Shui person.
I am.
Teacher, coach. And then Margaret, you do astrology.
Madeline,
I'm sorry. So the whole, how do those two come together and become all about money? Because most people don't associate money with astrology or Feng Shui or anything that's out of the box spiritual.
Actually,
they do.
Yeah. Actually, all of our work is based on energy. Mm-hmm. So astrology is basically the study of energy cycles. And Feng Shui
it's a study of energy in your space. And the theory is that your space is a reflection of your inner self. And so I think of it as a dance. You're always dancing with the energy in your space. And many people have come to me over the years because they wanted to really improve their prosperity. They wanted to flourish.
Yeah.
And so they would, come to ask specifically for help with prosperity.
Right. So, and is that true with astrology too?
Well, to a certain extent, yes. I do also, in addition to personal, I do business and economic astrology. So a lot of my...
So there's the money.
Yeah. A lot of my clients are business people, you see. So, and they're wanting to understand how to harmonize with the universe so that they are bringing in a higher level of prosperity.
Okay, so, and you guys address all of this in the book. So you told me on air, you guys have been teaching these principles that you present for over 13 years.
Yes, we taught them in teleclasses for about 13 years, and then we spent 7 years writing the book.
So we started this in the early 2000s.
Okay, so you guys are in for the long haul. That's how committed you are to the work that you do and the power that it brings to...
We have. And Madeline and I have been working together for about 20 years. And it just seems like yesterday. It's just gone by so fast.
Okay, so let's talk about... I'm just going to read a couple of the areas that the book covers so people know, but so everybody has a very broad spectrum. You talk about creating or cultivating a positive money vibe, which I think a lot of people still don't see money as an energy source. They see it as dirty, or they see it as they're less than, they can't have anything, or blah, 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 the story. I call it the victim story, right?
Right.
Also, then you provide some techniques to release energy that is blocking receivership of that money.
We do.
And learning secrets of subtle energy at work. Now, this is the one that caught me because I'm absolutely about alchemy. Tapping into the alchemy of creating desired results.
That's a fun one.
I love it. And then creating with trust.
Mhm.
Yes, very important.
Very important. And for me personally, it's one of those things that is an ongoing work in progress.
Mhm.
And I think that's probably true for many people. Do you guys find that?
Well,
Yes.
yes, and I would say our entire lives are always a work in progress. We're never
Oh,
done.
yeah.
We're always just evolving.
Right.
Mhm.
Always, we are our own works in progress.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So a couple of the things in your book that you talk about quantum physics,
Mhm.
which is something I talk about because I think people need to comprehend how the energy moves in a field of potential,
Mhm.
not just possibility, but
Right.
potential. So it's not, in my experience, possibility seems to be that something might not happen. It's just possible, right? And some people beginning
Mhm.
that inner work need to see it as possible. But I have now moved to recognizing that there are multiple potentials,
Right.
which is
Multiple
like a done deal.
outcomes.
That's right.
Multiple
outcomes.
Multiple outcomes. And
yeah.
then when you hold your vision for the outcome that you really want, you're really empowering it. You're giving it a big boost, a lot of energy.
Okay.
And that's what we encourage people to do.
So let's talk about that for a moment, because I think some people, myself included, when I'm holding a vision, right, an idea of how I want that outcome to go, what I've noticed is then I become very single focused, where I actually close the doors and windows to all the other potentials.
Mm.
Have you guys run into that?
Right. So hold on to the essence of what it is you want.
Okay,
Not exactly how it's going to happen. I think that's where we get tripped up. We want things to happen a certain way, or we expect them to happen a certain way. And when it doesn't, it's like, oh, this doesn't work. I'm out of here.
So
But
I'm sorry, Peg.
But hold on to the essence.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better if you can imagine that your goal is like at the point of a cone. Your goal is at the point of the cone.
Okay.
And the how it's going to happen is at the wide end of the cone.
Oh, I see that.
So you let in all these other ways that it can happen besides your own imagination. And as you do that, you're trusting the universe to deliver the best possibilities to you.
And you use that T word again, Madeline, trust.
Yeah, you have to trust the universe, because the universe can never show you anything that you don't believe or trust.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
one way
the essence of why you want to hold your vision, but not the how. You let the universe figure out the how.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, that's much easier.
Right. I like to think of it
to help
as
you deliver what you want.
Yeah. So suspend your doubt. If you can get in the habit of suspending doubt and opening up to the possibility.
I love that phrase, actually, Peg, suspending doubt, because I think, especially after an entire year of lockdown, who knows who's saying true things, blah, blah.
Right.
We become the doubting Thomases, right? We become, is it true? And how do we even figure out, is it true? So suspending that doubt.
Oh, and that's a vicious circle right there.
Oh, yeah.
So getting off that treadmill and just bring it to neutral. Start at a neutral place.
Oh,
and
I
say,
like that too.
Maybe it's possible.
Okay, so how do you get to neutral?
Well, one way to get to neutral is to release the blockages. So in the book, we have a link to a free emotional freedom and healing release. I do release work with people. It's tapping, and I do that over the telephone. And so this is a 45-minute session to walk people through many of the basic blocks, the messages that we tell ourselves, that we're not good enough. We don't deserve it. We'll never have it. You know, we all know them. And so you release it. You release it through tapping.
Talking about me, Peg. Oh my God.
Yeah. So in the book, I think it's in chapter 2. There's a link there, and you can click that link, or in the online book, you click the link. You can tap it, type it in. It'll take you to the page on the website where the recording is, and then you can download the recording and do that session. And you can do it as many times as is worthwhile for you.
Right. So actually, everybody, we're going to put that link in our show notes, so you can access it directly. Because I think that using tapping to neutralize those emotions that have actually anchored the blocks in your energy system, tapping, in my experience, helps me to get to a place where I can get out of the fear, the anger, the frustration, the shame, and then I can deal with what it is I really want, or what it is.
And many of the blocks have been inherited. If you look generational. If you look to your parents and their parents and so forth, you can see the patterns. You have to work hard to be successful.
Yeah, and as long as you hold those negative energies about money or prosperity in your body, and not necessarily in your mind, but in your body, then the vibration that you're sending out to the universe is, don't send me money.
Yeah, and while you're wanting to pay your rent or whatever.
Yeah, pay your bills. Have some savings. Yeah, exactly.
So that's where the disconnect is.
Yeah.
Right.
That many of these feelings, they're encoded in your body. And you may have thoughts, and you might be out there doing affirmations and doing a lot of the so-called work, but to the extent that the blockage is in your physical body, you need to let it go.
Mm-hmm. So when you okay, hold on, because that was interesting what you said, Peg, because it's encoded in your body. Now, how do people know, right? Okay, I'm currently dealing with an experience of being a type 1 diabetic. That is a belief system that became encoded in my body, right? And so how do you find those blockages that may have created energetic blocks in the body, but don't present as a dis-ease?
Well, as it relates to the money as an energy game and prosperity, it's we've listened to many of our students over the years with what the story. So you listen to the stories, that have come up, and what you tell yourself and what you tell others, and what you're hearing within your family.
And what your bank account says.
And there's a lot of clues right there.
Yeah.
Look at when you're getting stressed and when you're at ease. What are you doing? How do you feel every month when you're sitting down and writing out bills, or, paying them online? Are you feeling relaxed? And thankful that you have the money, or more than enough money? Or it's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to, cover this?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really recognizing and watching those patterns as they come up.
Right. And then using emotional freedom healing and tapping to release those patterns.
Yeah, so you can release those patterns. You can also do it through journaling, write it out through journaling. You can release it through meditation. You can do it through visualization. One technique I like to recommend is to take all these phrases and experiences that don't work, put them into a balloon and send that off into the ethers.
I love
that go. see it, them dissolving in your body. So the first part is to recognize it,
Mm-hmm.
and then be willing to let it go and to take inspired action.
Okay.
So this is the part that gets us away from the thinking end, or even just the affirmation end, right?
Mhm.
It's taking inspired action. So the emotional freedom and healing release is an inspired action.
Oh, I see.
And I have clients who will resist doing the release. They'll do everything else but the release, right?
Now,
And
why do you suppose that is?
I don't know. It's almost as though they don't want to deal with it. But when they finally do, and things just don't quite gel. And so finally they will do the release and they'll come back and say, oh, I did the release and blah, 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 blah. You know, all this stuff happened, you know, and it's like, yeah, that's why I recommended it. You know?
Well, and
I'm-
also I can tell you from doing these releases with people for, well over 15 years, that these releases go very, very deep.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when we're doing them, I can just feel the tears flowing on the other end, or the choking up, or, just all different physical attributes happen. And so I think it's fear that people, that hold people back, fear
Yeah.
of what's going to happen. And there's, you don't have to be afraid about it at all. Just let it go. And then they are so relieved. And I have a page of, on my website that are just client testimonials. So all unsolicited, and some of them do relate to emotional freedom and healing, just what happened when people did the release. It's really awesome. And that's why I do this work, for the changes that people are getting.
Which is a very deep and profound change. And
Yes.
I can imagine that well, I also know that the universe abhors a vacuum. So when you clear that stuff out, you've heard that, right? When you clear that stuff out, then you have a larger container to fill it up with what you want.
Divine white light.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. When I do clearings, I do clearings, I do personal clearings, and I do space clearings for people. And so when I come up with that void, I'm always asking that it be filled with, 100% pure divine white light. Just fill it right up.
Yep. And then what happens for individuals, in case you're curious, you guys, is there is so much more that you cannot know until you release, until you clear with the absolute white light on purpose, like consciously.
That's right.
Consciously. So another.
Go ahead. I was going to say, you can also start small, and just watch for the signs that things are changing. And early on in this work, I would just ask, I'd say, okay, send me 3 signs, and make it really obvious. And then I would be blown away with what happened.
Right. But so that was to affirm to you that you were connected to source.
Yeah.
Okay. So
getting the right messages.
Right.
That I was on the right track.
You realize, okay, this is the area I need to go into, or
that's right.
Direction.
That's right. Right.
My intuition is actually telling me the truth.
That's
which
right.
a lot of people doubt themselves, right? Going back to that not trusting thing.
Right.
Right.
Right. In fact, I left a corporate career in 2000, right? At the end of 1999, going into 2000, I had a 21-year corporate career. I was going to just take 6 months off and get another job. And I never did. I just kind of went into this world, what some of my former colleagues would call the woo-woo world. And it's been an amazing journey ever since.
Yeah.
It's been over 21 years.
And I'm so grateful that you're doing that journey still.
Well, it's a lot of fun. It really is. It's amazing. And what I found is the more I learn and the more I do, the more there is to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God it is a universe that wants us to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's when you were saying, Peg, about starting small and asking for signs. I have a specific story I've shared a couple of times where when I was married to my ex-husband, we needed a chunk of change. We needed $50,000 to pay off our credit card debt. And so when I was hiking and doing my affirmations and asking, you know, and intending, and every time I hit $50,000, I went really small. I was like, and I was like, okay, wait, what is that? And so I had to ask myself, and I went, oh, if $50,000 dropped out of the sky into my bank account right now, it would scare the living daylights out of me. So I had to chunk it down. Okay, what at this point, what am I willing to accept? Increments of 10,000 to leading up to 50. And that started happening out of from money coming in from who knew where. And we were able to get about 30,000 in the bank. And then the last piece of it came all at once.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, in of receivership by then.
In the book, we talk about a money ceiling. So the money ceiling is the amount of money you're willing to accept. And it's different for everybody. And you just described the money ceiling.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you now, I receive a hell of a lot more now.
Well, because you have raised them, right?
That's perfect. And you know, Susan, I had a similar experience. My ex-husband he had cancer, and his chemo every week was $7,000. And they had a limit. The insurance had a limit of $1,000 per day or per week. So at one point, you know, I was thanking the universe in advance for having already brought in $50,000 to help pay off this extra debt, right? And there was a deal going on for 4th of July. There's some little race with duckies, and you could win $50,000. So man, I spent a lot of time thanking the universe for this $50,000, right? And then the day came and we didn't win, and I was like, oh dang, you know, all that work and no reward, right? The next day we went to the clinic, and they announced to us that they had managed to get $60,000 from the manufacturer to cover it.
Wow. So that's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was even better. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's important. Made this or something even better. So allow for that opening that something more than you expect or more than you're asking for will show up.
Yeah.
Even when it feels like you're pushing the envelope, right? Even though
this is something greater. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the important thing. And then it meets you at the level of your belief. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Your acceptance, receivership of it.
That's right.
Right. So something else you guys talk about in your book, Money is an Energy Game. You guys are talking about unity consciousness. This is something near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
And I so appreciate that you have put it all in the book, because I really believe that the unity consciousness is why we're here right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so how does unity consciousness, developing that? Okay, so everybody, unity consciousness is the recognition that we're all connected and we're all one. That, you know, nothing else to be said. You know, even if other people look different from you, we're all one. So how is unity consciousness part of the money game?
Well, first of all, you no matter what you do to anyone else, you see, you're always doing it to yourself, right? This is an important recognition, is that, you know, in the past, there was always sort of the win-lose game, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? But,
thank you, patriarchy.
But you can't ever have a win-lose situation without you losing as well. So you have to have win-win in order for you to win. It can never be the other way, because you're always doing it to yourself. Whatever you're doing to anyone else, you're doing it to yourself. So it's important to have a consciousness that elevates everyone.
Right.
right?
So,
And generosity is a big piece of this. So
Yes.
regardless of your circumstances, just helping somebody else out, giving to somebody else. And for some people, it might be $1, might be $10, it might be $10,000. Or it
Mhm.
doesn't have to be money. It can be an act of kindness. But giving to others is a way to ensure that it will come back to you multifold. It
Right.
always does.
and doing it from a place of heart-centered love,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
not from an idea that if I give that person $1, I'm going to get 2.
Oh, that won't
Right.
work.
No.
Well, that will work in the opposite way.
Right.
But
No, that's
yes,
not going to work.
being selfless, really
Yeah.
being selfless.
Yeah.
So, so both of you guys have worked with corporate, but Madeline, so this moving from a win-lose belief system and
Mhm.
practice to a win-win, what does that look like in the corporate world? Because is it having an effect on the corporate world?
Okay. So, yes. Okay. In the current business model, there's a kind of a division. So the shareholders are considered to be more important than the workers or the
Yeah.
employees. Okay.
Mhm.
And the reality is that all the people that contribute to the business are really on equal footing. You can have all the money in the world, and if you don't have the talent of those workers, you still have nothing. You
Right.
need both sides of that equation, and you need the customers. So, and you need the vendors who supply you with components or parts or even something like electricity and phones. It doesn't matter where they are in the spectrum, they all have a contribution that should be equally appreciated.
Mhm.
So that you're not, giving more benefit to one group than another. It should be a combination of everyone sharing the benefits together.
So when you say sharing the benefits, that also includes the financial income that flows to that corporation.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And
So
there is a
employees,
movement.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
There's a whole movement of sustainability. And with the millennials are the generation that are going to change this. They are changing it.
Thank goodness. Thank
Yeah,
goodness.
and my daughter works for the UN Global Compact. And so that's been around for 20 years, very quietly. They're out there trying to bring in companies into the fold who are changing business. And there's we talk in the book about B corporations. That's
Yes,
another
I
group
love
of
B
companies that are out there. I love benefit corporations
Mhm.
that are out there doing good. So they're doing good for their customers. They're also doing good for their employees and their shareholders.
Yes.
So there are movements out there to shift, the way
Right.
the world is working for business, and they are profitable.
See, and they're proving that they can be.
They're proving it.
Right. They're proving that they can give some of their proceeds to someone else and still make a profit.
That's right.
Absolutely.
A lot of people do not want to give because they see it as taking something away from them.
That's right.
See,
and you don't have to be chained to a desk to do this.
That's the old scarcity model.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that's belief in the scarce universe. That if I give you something, I'm losing something. Right. You see, that's the whole scarcity model. But what's not understood well is that energy is the source of everything. And there's so much energy in the universe that you could never possibly run out of it. And so there's an enormous amount of abundance that's available to us if we will only recognize it. But it's not understood that, or by most people, I should say, that this is available, and there's a huge, enormous amount of energy available for us to create anything we want from that energy. Energy is at the beginning, the heart of everything. There's nothing else that is at the very beginning of it, you see. So you can create anything with the energy. It's just a matter of understanding how to use energy and how to expand it.
Mhm.
And it's fun playing with it. So
Yeah.
people that are just starting on this journey, I would say, just experiment with it, have fun with it, see what happens. There's a concept of the tipping point, 3 to 1. So strive to have 3 times as many really good experiences as bad ones or negative ones. We're human. Our emotions are going to go up and down. So when you realize you're down in the dumps, do something to pull yourself out, but then go for 3 times as many good experiences to negate the one that brought you down.
Right. And that it sounds like, Peg, that will kind of erase that negative experience, if you will,
Yes,
from downloading into the physical body.
absolutely. Absolutely. Go out and do 3 good deeds, for somebody. That will, come back.
Right. And
Yeah.
some of those good deeds can be taking care of yourself. Like, okay, so
Oh,
go for a walk
absolutely.
or take a nap or
Get out in nature.
right.
Get outside.
Right.
Absolutely.
I just spent yesterday afternoon for about an hour and a half laying under a redwood tree.
You
Oh,
did.
lovely.
Wow.
It was fabulous. It was so fabulous, and I intend to do it more and more and more now that I know where they are near me.
Oh, that's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah. So I encourage anybody that's listening to go explore the parks around you, because you're going to
Yes.
find some very phenomenal, majestic beings called trees
Yes.
who are
And
here.
they're beautiful right now, at least in my area. I live in the New Hampshire White Mountains. And so it's still early spring and the trees are budding out, but every day you see them a little bit further along, and it is just amazing.
And that's a great analogy for how you can grow your money.
That's
Yes,
a very good point.
exactly right. Yes.
It has to start somewhere, and you've got to, and nurturing the buds and being observant.
That's right. And still on the same theme, when you plant a seed, you don't see anything for a little bit of time. However, if you go like you're not sure and say, hey, nothing's happening, I'm going to see what's happening, and you stir it up, then you've disturbed the roots. And so then you have to start over again. So this is, again, where trust comes in. Trust is so important. To plant the seeds, trust that you're on the right path, take inspired action along the way, and know that it's going to, things will shift. Things are shifting for you.
Yeah.
Watch the signs and give thanks.
And give thanks. That's all of those are huge pieces. So your website is moneyisanenergygame.com. That's how people can access the video and all of that. Yes.
Yes.
And then do you both have individual websites for the individual work you do?
Yes.
We do.
Yes.
You want to speak those out loud?
Mine is goodtimingguide.com. I put out a book called The Good Timing Guide, so people can know good days and times to do.
Oh, how fabulous.
I have used that for about 20 years. It is excellent.
Yeah. And so goodtimingguide.com will take you to my website.
Madeline, have you been putting out one of those every year?
25 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I used to have to figure it out before I came across Madeline.
I see another, this is like a gift.
Because I use this, I use the concept when Madeline calls it, timeouts, but avoid a course moons. I use that in business because I would never take on a client that whose contract was signed during a void moon. And they happened to be the clients and the relationships that were the most difficult.
Very
most challenging. Now I had to clean some up, that had been like that, but yeah. So and anyways, and my website is fengshuiconnections.com.
Okay, connections.
FENGSHUI, connections with an S, fengshuiconnections.com. Okay.
I'm writing it down. Okay. Hopefully I can read my notes. So everybody, Money is an Energy Game. A really great resource book, I'm telling you. And we didn't even get into the second half of the book.
That's right.
There's a whole,
Yeah, we do a whole section on sleep and food and exercise, mental patterns, emotional patterns, spiritual patterns, words that people use, stories people tell. It's a very complete encyclopedia, as you call it.
it
So
really is.
you could really flip through and just pick out a chapter that speaks to you and
Yeah,
start
you can
there.
do what I do, everybody. Just say, what do I need to know, and open the book.
Mhm.
The Art of Prosperous Language. Well, there you go.
And there you go. Wow, that's fabulous. And it is an art.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. So I want to thank you both for doing the work you do. I'm very grateful that you are here doing the work you do. I'm very grateful that you compiled it all in one place for people. And I'm so grateful to have had this conversation with you both today. So thank you.
Thank you, Susan. It's
Thank
really been a
you.
pleasure.
Yes, it's been a great time. Thank you.
It's been fun for me. So I'm just going to end with, and so it is, namaste.